No, look, I'm trying to sprinkle in some humor in here to try and make it like not as bad as what it is, but it's just more of the same. The Nets have lost 9 games in a row. I really don't know what I'm supposed to be saying, but I'll figure out something, I guess. They have lost 9 consecutive games in a row. Tonight we just lost to the Boston Celtics on national TV. They put this game on TNT. I'll tell you the juicy details in the coming moments, but subscribe to Nets Republic and stuff. There's your house cleaning stuff. What we feared last game and what I unfortunately basically predicted, I should really play lottery numbers today. Kyrie Irving can't play home games. We all know that. Kevin Durant's still hurt. We all know that. But James Harden is still recovering from his hamstring injury. So he didn't play tonight, which means none of the big three were out there. That means we were playing a game with none of them. Not one of them. We didn't have LaMarcus Aldridge because he's still hurt. Claxton is still hurt. Bruce Brown, sorry, not Bruce Brown. Bruce Brown's fine. Joe Harris is still hurt. Just a laundry list of individuals. Paul Millsap is not with the team because he wishes to be traded. And I can't even remember what the starting lineup was. I think it was Patty Mills, Bruce Brown, Bembry, Kessler. I don't even remember. I think it was Kessler Edwards. I don't know. And Blake Griffin. DeAndre. I'm sorry. I'm just so out of it. Like, I'm just going to cut through the shenanigans. It doesn't matter who started. They lost. It was an embarrassing performance. We were getting blown out, and this is no exaggeration. You can check Twitter. You can check the internet. Check my personal channel. You can see the evidence. We were getting blown out at one point. 28 points to 2. The Celtics had 28. We had 2. This was in the first 5 minutes of the game. And I could play the talk trash about Steve Nash game, but it's like, to what end? What does that accomplish? What would be solved by doing that? Like, I'm going to hit the Cardi. Like, what was the reason? Like, what does that even solve by me going over that? We are so trash. We are so helpless. We are so defenseless in this moment. It is... I'm running out of adjectives. I got to be honest with you. I'm running out of adjectives and adverbs and nouns and the proper vernacular to try and put into words my disappointment with this team. Like, my disappointment is immeasurable and my day is ruined. Like, we are so garbage. We have lost 9 games in a row and we just lost to the Celtics. Celtics ain't nothing. And it's like, granted, none of the big three was there, and we're missing LaMarcus Aldridge and stuff like that. It's not like the rest of the team is just absolutely so terrible that it's like they have no business being out there. The rest of the team is fine. They might be role players. They might be support characters, but it's not like they're trash. It's like if we're playing, like, I don't know, Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm, and you got, like, Sakura out there. Like, yeah, she's not Sasuke or Naruto, but, like, she was training with Tsunade and stuff like that. Like, she's got the superpowers. Like, she's like a healing medical person and the super strength and whatever. Like, let's not act like she's like total trash or anything like that. Like, I don't understand that. Like, even having a bunch of support characters, you should at least be able to compete. And I mean, God bless Blake Griffin for trying his hardest to get other people involved. But it's like, again, if he is not given the 100% freedom to go out there and just say, okay, Blake, your team, go save us. And I'm not saying we would have won. I'm not saying Blake Griffin and who we had out there was enough to win, but it's like, you have to use your weapons. You've got to use your weapons. And if you're letting just Patty Mills go out there and just ISO himself into getting blocked under the rim, it's like, what are we doing here? Blake Griffin was getting all sorts of switches down low in the paint. I mean, there are times he's wide open, cutting to the basket with his hands out like this, and they don't give him the ball. But you'll give him the ball for a contested three? Like, it's nonsensical. And that's when you would think your coach would say, well, let's take advantage of this. There's times where he is bullying people down low in the paint, wide open, just a simple dribble, turn, layup. That is a basket. Blake ain't missing that. But they don't even give him the ball. You've got Bruce Brown trying to run some inverted pick and roll into a backdoor cut for Bembry, and it's just like, oh my God, are you telling me the Harden pick and roll option backdoor cut is our only play, like for realsies? Because they're running the same thing. And it's the same one play with the same two options, regardless who's on the floor. Like, that's not concerning to y'all? And it's like, okay, well, James Johnson went out there and had a better game, but do we need the James Johnson ISO special? Is that what we ordered? Like, it's just so unfortunate. It's so very, very unfortunate. David Duke Jr. was available this game. He hasn't been for the last several games. I didn't even know he was on the bench. And then all of a sudden, halfway through the second, here comes Duke Jr. And I'm like, wait, he was available, but you started Bembry? And don't get me started on the Cam Thomas thing. We have been over a million times of how at this point in this, especially at this point in the season, maybe a week ago there was pushback from y'all, but at this point in the season, just let Cam start. Give him the ball, let him do whatever he wants. Like, take all those shots away from James Johnson, give it to Cam Thomas. What could be the harm? Like, what could be the harm in letting him do whatever he wants, especially when there are no other real offensive options out there? Because it's not like anyone is going to set something up. So when you have complementary pieces like a Blake or a Claxton or something like that, these individuals have to be set up, or you have to give them the ball in their spot. It's not like they're just going to bring the ball down the court on their own, dribble between their legs a couple times and pull up or something. That's not their game. So if you have two individuals who are capable of doing that in a Duke Jr. and a Cam Thomas, why would they not be starting? Like, make it make sense. I told myself I wasn't even going to analyze the game, but there you go. Let's get to the shenanigans. James Harden was not out there for a good bit of the first half of the game. Then magically he appeared on the bench in street clothes. Just magically out of the blue. And like some Adidas affiliate that has a blue check has been like tweeting out these weird teasers about James Harden and Brooklyn and the Barclays and stuff like that. And they were tweeting out like coordinates and stuff like that. And it's like, what kind of weirdo press run are they trying? Like, is he about to drop a mixtape? I didn't understand what that was. I saw a picture of like, there's a new like sign of him outside of the Barclays. Are they just advertising a billboard? Is this a shoe rollout? Like, I don't understand what's going on with that. So like, I knew he would like be in the general area because it's Brooklyn, he lives there, but they just like had him randomly appear. TNT put the camera on him and said, look, it's James Harden, he's on the bench. And normally James is like high-fiving people, he's giving instructions from the bench, you can hear him screaming from the sideline, what's the vibes? Like all sorts of stuff like that. We didn't see any of that. That man was sitting there like Plankton that one time that like Karen had him super, super clean and like he was on the bench like, that's how that man was looking. And it's just like, what was the point? It was like he was out there for that particular camera shot to show, oh no, look, we're not trading him. Look, he's right here. He's right here. You see him, he's right here. But as soon as they cut the cameras, you pan back to the bench and he's nowhere to be found. Did y'all see him in the second half? Because I didn't see him in the second half of the game. I see Claxton out there, but that's about it. Part of me wants to think like maybe this was like on some like Mike Myers type stuff, and it's like it was a master of disguise, and it was just like a random dude who had a beard who they had come off the street, and they just like had like some like facial Michael Jackson ghost music video prosthetic makeup on. What I'm saying is I think that was a stunt double because Mans had his mask on, so we couldn't really see it was James. I didn't see him do any of this. I didn't see him do the nosebleed joint. That might have been a stand-in, falsified mannequin James Harden. I think that was a replica. I don't think that was real James Harden. I'm going to keep it a beam with you. I would not be surprised if it was some literal smoke and mirrors. That might have been the hologram. Maybe that's why he didn't give anyone a high five, because it would have been transparent. It would have went right through man's hands like that. You see how it's going through the hand? It would have went right through man's hands just like this. You know, zoom, zoom, zoom. You feel me? Insert lightsaber sound effect. Help me, Justin. Because it wasn't him. It wasn't him. That might as well have been Tupac. It wasn't even him. That was Mike. That was X. That wasn't even him. So after they had that random appearance of Harden, he disappeared into the night and we never saw him again. And it's just like, it's you would think that that's where the shenanigans ends, right? Okay, they got blown out because we don't have a coach. Our team is constructed to be around 3 stars and none of them were out there. We didn't have a chance. It was a slaughter. James Harden had a random cameo and that's it. And you would think that's the end of the video and we're saying, okay, see you next time. Hopefully they get better. Bye-bye. That's not even the end of it, because I was watching the TNT broadcast. Let me tell you what happened on the TNT broadcast. Aside from the fact that we saw Shaq's feet, which I didn't need to see that, but that's neither here nor there. Even though I feel like he had like some cheetah print toenails. I thought that was, I might have to see what's good with that, but that's neither here nor there. I need to see his foot mature toe. Anyway, I'm watching the TNT broadcast, watching the halftime shenanigans. Candace Parker and them, they didn't want to NBA champion Candace Parker, reigning NBA champion, Chicago Sky, Candace Parker. Let's not forget that. But that's not here or there. Her and D Wade and them, they didn't really want to talk about the game because it was such a slaughter. And I mean, for casuals, I can understand why this would be a snore fest for you, because it's like you don't even know who Bruce Brown and them are. So I can understand why you would have no interest in it. For actual Nets fans like us, we're going to watch every game because regardless who plays, we know them. We want to see, is Javon Carter going to hit a shot today? Like we're interested in what happens. We want to see the whole outcome. But I know casuals didn't, and I said that might be an issue at some point. And when they didn't really cover the game in the halftime show, I said there is cause for concern. But I said, they're probably not going to do nothing. 7 you tripping, is not that serious. Well, fast forward to the beginning of the third quarter, and the feed was cut. This is what happened. They're playing the basketball, right? Getting smacked around by the Celtics, right? It's just like this. It's just a thing. This is what we're seeing on the screen, right? Doing this, doing this, doing this. And then all of a sudden, and it's like, what? Literally, it was like the Super Bowl a couple years ago, where it's like all the lights go out. And it's like, I'm thinking like, did something happen in the arena? Is like Kevin Durant, when the lights come on, is he going to have the Undertaker hat on? And he's going to be at half court. He's going to be like, I'm back. And it's like, oh my God, like I didn't know what was going on. When they come back after several sponsored State Farm commercials, which, God, I get it. Chris Paul's a good actor, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway, we cut back after all the commercials and such. And, oh God, we cut back after all the commercials. I'm trying to do this without losing my mind here. We cut back after all the commercials. And y'all, they were showing the Suns game. They didn't show any of the third quarter of our game. They didn't show any of the third quarter of our game. Not a moment of it, not a second of it. They kept saying that they were having technical difficulties and a power outage, but I think we all know what was going on here. TNT saw that the Nets were losing by so many points. that they actually cut the game. They cut the feed and showed us a different game. They showed us the Suns 76ers game because we were losing by that much that they decided, you know what, screw them, we're going to play another team. They finally cut back to show us the fourth quarter of the game, but I couldn't tell you what happened in the third quarter because TNT didn't broadcast it. Now, I'm sure they'll sit there and say, oh, it was technical difficulties, That is a load of jive. You're telling me all the cameras they have, all the replay cameras they have up in Secaucus and all this stuff, and all the different angles that they have for the sports betting and the metaverse and all that stuff. You're telling me there was no feed whatsoever? You couldn't pull in on some NBA TV. You couldn't pull in the Yes on Nets broadcast. You couldn't pull in whatever it is the Celtics do. You know what I mean? I don't believe that for a second. They made a business decision that the Nets are so trash, they won't even show us. They would much rather put on something more entertaining because we are so garbage. So couldn't tell you what happened in the third quarter. TNT didn't show it. We come back in the fourth quarter. They continue to get slapped around. Cam Thomas and the crew are trying to make it look like it wasn't as bad as what it was, but it was. The game ended with Enes Freedom, or whatever that man's name is now, hitting a three. That's how the game ended. And that's it. And to add like more insult to injury, we got another example of someone that we just let walk that could be helping us right now. One of our assistant coaches from last year is the literal head coach of the Celtics. Just more salt in the wound. So as we head into the trade deadline, like official deadline, right? I believe it's Thursday. So I think our next video where we're covering this will be basically saying what happened, right? We have until Thursday to trade somebody. I don't know who, but we have until then to get something done. People are saying that allegedly some type of mandates are going to be lifted. I'll believe it when I see it. But allegedly some mandates are going to be lifted. It's possible Kyrie might be able to play. Again, I'll believe it when I see it. But the fact that Harden did not play, and I firmly believe it was by choice yet again. I firmly believe that. I don't believe for a second that they would load manage Harden so much so to allow us to lose 9 consecutive games. I don't believe that for a second. I believe this was truly James Harden just doesn't want to be here and he has abandoned the team, which is disgusting on so many different levels. But until that man comes out and says otherwise, I don't know who to believe. Sean Marks is trying to tell us that's not the case. Steve Nash is trying to tell us that's not the case. But what else are they supposed to say? I hope by the time I upload this, James Harden has put out some form of a statement because we know he was there. We saw him. Allegedly, that was him. So either him or his mannequin or his replica or his stand-in or his stunt double or his whatever, or his doppelganger, whatever you want to call whoever that was out there. I hope the hologram has a post-game interview where he says, I'm not going anywhere because we need some peace of mind. We need that so bad right now. The team's falling apart, and while it is the most entertaining season in anything in any sport I've ever watched, it's rough when it's your team. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts down below on this colossal collapse. Have you ever seen a team fall apart like this before? Who are you placing the blame on today? Do you think Harden is literally throwing the towel and saying, screw you guys, I'm going home? Let me know what you think down below. Are you sick of Kyrie? Do you love Kyrie? You think he's not getting a fair shake? Do you think all of this will be solved with the return of Kevin Durant? Or are you like me and you're just sick of the whole Big Three in general? Let me know your thoughts down below. I am Sever the Bond. This is Nets Republic. Shout out to loss number 10 coming up. I can feel it.